Investigators say that massive San Jose Home Depot fire was intentionally set, and they've made an arrest. Why did the San Jose man set it? We'll tell you why coming up.
There's a new way to test for COVID, and you might find it a lot more comfortable than a nasal swab.
Got a library card? Then you've got a new perk that'll get you into more than 200 state parks. These stories and more just ahead.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Grace Pang.
And I'm Sandow.
A bizarre follow-up now to a story we brought to you last week. There's been an arrest in that massive South San Jose Home Depot fire, and investigators say we know why it was set. The motive: to cover up a theft.
Investigators say Goke set the fire in a store aisle around 5:30 the evening of April 9th to create a distraction. As the inferno roared, he filled a shopping cart with tools and tried to get away, but when a worker stopped him, he took off. Police have arrested Dylan J. Cruz Gogue. The 27-year-old San Jose man is accused of setting the fire at the hardware chain store in Blossom Hill Road, causing millions in damage and sent workers and customers running for their lives.
Prosecutors say Gogue faces multiple felony arson charges. They also say the fire was part of a crime spree that day. Gogue is accused of stealing from Bass Pro Shops before the fire, then stealing from a nearby Macy's after the fire.
The FDA recently authorized the first COVID breath test. It detects chemical compounds in breath samples and is said to be very accurate. Reporter Rodri Smith has the story.
Nasal swabs are uncomfortable when being tested for COVID-19, but using a breathalyzer, you just need to exhale for 3 minutes. The new COVID breath test is similar to the breathalyzers that police officers use to test for drunk driving. Here's how it works. You blow into a straw, which is hooked up to a portable machine. It takes about 3 minutes to get the results. It could give you the option of a breathalyzer instead of somewhat more uncomfortable nasal swab test. Scientists say that the test is 91% accurate in detecting a positive result, 99% accurate for detecting a negative result, and has a rate of 4.2% for false negatives. However, if the test comes out positive, they still insist you follow up with a PCR test to make sure. That doesn't sit well with Brandon Imperial.
The fact that if you test positive based off of the breathalyzer test, you have to take follow-up tests just to confirm it. That just, I don't know, it just seems wasteful in my opinion.
The breathalyzer test requires a trained operator, not a medical person. The machine is about the size of a carry-on luggage.
I mean, it sounds inconvenient, like having to get tested with this huge apparatus, with there already being different available tests, like the rapid test. It takes 15 minutes.
Fed Idrisi says having to wait just 3 minutes for results suit him just fine.
The new one that's been approved, I'll be more interested in it because of how easy it is to use it.
There isn't a set date for when these breath tests will be available in your neighborhood, but it's another tool that we have for the COVID-19 test arsenal. In San Jose, I'm Rodri Smith, Update News.
Is San Jose State doing enough to help its homeless students who find themselves homeless? A student group says no, and they held a protest on campus this week, demanding change. But the university tells a very different story. Here's both sides.
San Jose State University's Student Homeless Alliance organized a march around campus demanding that the administration do more to assist its homeless students.
Out of the 213 students who have reached out to SJSU Cares for assistance, only 12 have been granted with emergency housing.
The group says it's been in talks with the university about the homeless students, but they claim that the process for unhoused students is too bureaucratic and it lacks transparency. The university spokesperson sent us these stats on its work with the homeless students for the last 6 months of last year. Of the 213 students who asked for help, all but 40 either got a home or some sort of financial assistance to stay in their homes. The remaining 40 students never kept their appointments. The Associated Student Fund provided $100,000 for emergency housing. The university has made attempts to reach out to the Student Homeless Alliance, but the organizers for the group dispute that. They do say that there are improvements, but they still criticize the outreach.
The campaign for Share Your Spartan Heart that asks students to donate to this cause is great, and I'm glad that it was able to raise money for this cause, but it should not be on the students to raise money for the students that are suffering after the thousands of dollars they spend every single year on tuition already.
The Student Homeless Association says it's in talks with the university interim president and is more optimistic for progress now.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Colleges across the country, including San Jose State, are using the opportunity to help create change.
It's Teal Tuesday, and Spartan students are using fashion to make a social statement. They are showing solidarity for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. On social media, it's hashtag SJSU-SAM. There will be a series of events to mark the awareness campaign.
Another way you can support survivors is on Wednesday. Denim Day is a day where you wear jeans or denim to support survivors of sexual assaults. It is based off of an Italian case in the 1990s where a conviction was overturned because supposedly the survivor had to take off their jeans because they were too tight. And so this is a way to now promote awareness around sexual assault and basically busting myths around these different types of topics.
There's also a campus-wide care kit supplies drive from now until April 27th with 5 drop-off locations for the Santa Clara Sexual Assault Response Team.
Members of the community can donate items to the network of specialized nurses that provide medical and forensic responses to survivors who come into their 24-hour emergency department.
Some of San Jose State's brightest minds came together last week during the 2022 celebration of research. Researchers presented their findings, and we found out which finalists will represent the school at the California State University Research Competition later this month. Reporter Christian Trujano has the story.
The 2022 Celebration of Research returned to campus this semester after 2 years of being on Zoom. The annual event honors faculty and student researchers and highlights their work.
Part of doing research is disseminating the knowledge that you learn in that research and sharing it with the public. And San Jose State is all about public impact research. Whether they're going to be employees or entrepreneurs or artists or researchers, they need that presentation skill so they can connect and communicate the great work that they're doing.
The research varied from studying eyes and their sound waves to health disparities in Black communities during epidemics.
And just by looking into the past, we're able to find ways and find methods to confront health disparities now and in the future.
Watri's research focused on how many Black people died during epidemics like the Spanish flu, HIV/AIDS, and currently COVID-19. It explored the lessons learned about preventing that from happening again. Watri is one of the finalists who will represent SJSU at this month's CSU Student Research Competition. Joining him will also be Christina Smith. Her research is on how adolescents develop with social media. She looked at the positive effects that it's had on their political activism and personal image.
We would even have some participants have Instagram just for their political views, and they would only follow political people on the account separate from their personal accounts.
Most say they are hoping they can push their work to make policy changes and have an actual impact.
Research like this is critically important because it gives data to back up actual lived experiences. Sometimes people don't really understand until they see the impact on communities and how it may affect people.
In San Jose, I'm Christian Trujano for Update News.
And when we come back,
This Earth Day, environmentalists say changing your bank is a new way to help save the planet.
I'm Cameron Landfield, and I'm going to get back to you with the weather after this break.
And you might want to reconsider that plastic water bottle. It could wash ashore years later. These stories and more just ahead.
At San Jose State, we really do learn by doing. This is my first semester working on our award-winning newspaper, the Spartan Daily. But my whole time here really has been about real-world skill building. Professors like Diane Gurazi continue their work in journalism while bringing that knowledge back to us in the classroom each semester. Then we're on the Spartan Daily, Update News, or the Spear. We get to put all that into practice. We even get to work with cutting-edge tools like our new VR lab, where we get to learn new ways of real storytelling using 3D virtual reality.
Our students have many opportunities to work in newsrooms that function like the ones they will encounter in their professional careers. Here in Update News, for instance, we produce a weekly show that is aired on local access television in San Jose, and we produce video news that is digital first. Students will get experience as producers, anchors, and field reporters.
The Spartan Daily, our award-winning student newspaper, has not missed a scheduled publication date in more than 80 years and remains one of the longest-standing papers of its kind in the Western United States. Through classroom instruction and our newsroom labs, we give our students the tools to succeed and create their own bright futures. Learn by doing. If you're interested in joining our program, visit our website for more information.
With the spring season in full effect and warmer weather around the corner, Californians have new free access to one of their favorite outdoor activities. Savannah Ceballos has the story.
The California State Parks and Libraries have teamed up and announced a new program. This will allow people to check out state park passes. That means you get a free vehicle day pass to more than 200 participating parks.
I think that's really cool just because I have 5 dogs that I always like to go hiking with. So I go to Yosemite, I go to all the different national parks around Bay Area, since we're fortunately lucky to have so many. So that's why it's really exciting.
So what's not included in the state park free vehicle access pass?
Museums, and those have individual fees that you pay when you get there. So those aren't included in this pass. A lot of people like to go camping in state parks. Camping is not included with this pass.
While there are a few restrictions, library card holders will still receive a free pass for one vehicle for the number of days allowed by the library. But the number of passes is limited. How does it work? Each library will receive 3 or more state library park passes that library card holders will be able to check out and then return for others to use.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Personally, I always like going to the library. So it's really nice to know that it's not just books that you're actually getting access to these state parks.
The park passes have already started being introduced to some libraries and will continue to do so into May. In San Jose, I'm Savannah Ceballos for Update News.
Earth Day is typically a day when people clean up parks, plant trees, or take a daring step in their life, like buying an electric vehicle. But now, some environmentalists have a new target, your bank. Reporter Allison Cruz explains.
Carolina Palomino, a climate justice student from San Francisco State University, says she closed her account with JP Chase. Why? She points to a report from the Reclaim Finance Environmental Group that says bank invests nearly $382 billion in the fossil fuel industry.
Really think about the fossil fuel industry when they open up a basic checking account. At least I didn't, until I started to learn that we all have a carbon footprint.
Palomino says she switched to Bank Green, a website that allows users to learn more about their bank's carbon footprint. And she's not alone. Others are looking for sustainable banking options like Aspiration or Community Bank of the Bay, who stay away from companies that contribute to the emissions of fossil fuels. The Banking on Climate environmental website says banks account for a quarter of all fossil fuel financing, and 4 banks dominate that financing: JP Chase, Citibank, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo.
Climate change isn't a topic that is usually brought up at work. People in the banking community aren't willing to have that conversation because no one thinks about that when banking with a popular bank like Wells Fargo.
We reached out to the American Banking Association for its take on the claims from environmentalists, but we did not get a response. The association's website does say banks are making efforts to decrease climate concerns through, quote, qualitative assessments and forward-looking climate business strategies.
You're not going to work to find out, are they trying to fix the environment, or are they trying to corrupt something and make it worse?
In San Jose, I'm Allison Cruz, Update News.
Environmental groups came together for an annual Earth Day celebration on San Jose State campus. One of the messages they try to hammer home again, plastics are a huge problem. What can you do to help? Reporter Brianna Mathay asks that all-important question.
It was a busy Earth Day celebration on the San Jose State campus. Multiple environmental groups held workshops and shared ways students can stop polluting the planet and help keep it clean and healthy instead. Organizers talked a lot about e-waste.
It ends up getting into our waterways and our oceans, and then creatures end up eating it.
Experts say one of the ongoing big problems is that of plastics. Grabbing a bottle of water as we head out the door is an everyday routine, but that plastic often shows up later in our oceans.
Plastic bottles could be found anywhere. It is something we seem to not live without, which has a negative effect on our environment.
Plastic affects marine life because fish and other aquatic animals can get stuck in it or consume it.
So how can you help? The experts say start with using a filter and invest in a reusable water bottle.
Stop buying bottled water. I drink tap water every single day. In San Jose, we are lucky enough to have very safe drinking water generally. You can get your tap water tested if you think that it is unsafe. You can also use a Brita filter or a pure filter if you're not comfortable just drinking straight from the tap.
In San Jose, I'm Brianna Mathal, Update News.
And now we have Cameron with the weather.
Good afternoon, this is Cameron Landfield with the Update News forecast. This week we've got quite a few rain chances coming through, possibly even a thunderstorm by Thursday evening. After the weekend, we'll see a high pressure system start to warm us up and clear out the skies. Taking a look here at the futurecast, you see our rain chances rolling on through. Thursday evening is the highest. By Friday, they start to move north here. You'll see Saturday and Sunday start to dry out. That's the beginning of our warming. Into the rain totals after the entire event, you'll notice the highest numbers up here in the north. Guerneville at 1.11. Fremont, Sunnyvale, San Jose, all around half an inch as usual. Into the 7-day forecast here, we are going to start off with Santa Cruz. See those rain chances on Thursday and Friday. We got our 57 high and our 54 low on Thursday, into the mid and low 70s here by next week. For San Francisco, similar story, a little bit less of a rain chance there on Friday, rebounding into the mid 60s. Oakland, we've got the same rain chance, down to 47 on Friday there, up to the high 60s by next week. And for San Jose, same story, rain chance Thursday, Friday, warming on up into the mid 70s. It's going to be a beautiful week next week. This has been meteorologist Cameron Landfield with your Department of Climate Science and Meteorology San Jose State forecast.
And when we come back,
San Jose State softball has some winning ways this season. What's different? Stay tuned to find out.
And meet the newest Spartan. April Phillips is the new head coach for San Jose State's women's basketball team. More on that story coming up.
now to sports. The San Jose State women's basketball team has a new head coach. She was hired earlier this month, but she says she's ready to make her mark on the team. From Jump reporter Jesus Teletude, talked to Coach April Phillips about her goals for her new team.
April Phillips, former assistant coach at the University of Texas, got a formal introduction as the new head coach of the San Jose State women's basketball team last week. The California native says she's excited to coach in San Jose. She's looking forward to revitalizing the program after a 5-25 record last season.
One of my major focuses, to be honest with you, is to rejuvenate the campus spirit surrounding women's basketball. Like, I want the campus to know who our players are. I want the campus to know who our staff is. I want student groups to feel comfortable reaching out to our staff and asking us to come to events. We're going to show up at events.
She had a plan of attack for building our program back, but it was also her energy and it was her presence, which really was inspiring and I thought would be an awesome culture fit for what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is elevate women's basketball.
Phillips played collegiate basketball at Georgia Tech and Xavier, eventually professionally playing overseas. She said her experiences as a former player and assistant coach helped her cultivate a unique coaching style that players can relate to.
One of the first things that she emphasized that really resonated with me was she called us humans, then students, then athletes, which I really love that because I feel like that aspect gets so overlooked sometimes, and she really values who we are as people and wants us to succeed as people and not only basketball players and students in the classroom.
The new season begins in the fall. Until then, Phillips said the team is recruiting new players. In San Jose, Jesus Telitude, Update News.
With only 9 wins last season, San Jose State women's softball was hoping for a bounce-back season, and that they have delivered on. Reporter Jonathan Schaefer has that story.
A bounce-back year for the Spartans softball team in 2022. It has brought the team closer together than ever, with 11 games left on the season. Head coach Tammy Lohman says it's been all about having the team back together again.
I think just actually having the team for the whole year. We didn't have everybody in fall, and then spring was our really only time to have the whole team, and then we weren't able to really kind of put in a lot of our, foundation that we wanted to as a program.
The team finished 9-23 in 2021 with 6 cancellations and 1 forfeit, but have doubled their win total this season, currently at 20.
With 15 of those wins to her name, pitcher Janessa Ulegi has been dominant on the mound for the Spartans.
We have that, that fight and that same motivation that we didn't really have last year.
Senior third baseman Alyssa Graham, who leads the team with a .352 batting average, says it's been great to be a full team together once again.
Feeling overjoyed that we get to play and using every opportunity we have to just take advantage of what we can do on the field and really just to enjoy each other's time and just have fun.
In San Jose, I'm Jonathan Schaefer, Update News.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thank you for joining us and see you next week.